Good morning. How are you all doing? Y'all, how are all of you doing? It's morning. We're on Saturday already. We're still in October and we're still in 2022. It's only the 15th, but which means we're halfway through October. Not ready for Halloween. I'm not ready for today. I just want to sit here and play Stardew Valley. I was wondering if I started playing Stardew Valley, if you guys would follow me like on Discord or something, or if I'd get more hits on my Stardew Valley. I figure out how to get it so that you can watch me play, because it's my obsession. I can start a fresh save just for YouTube farm of sorts, and see what happens for gaming. Yeah. Because it's fun. How do you get like lifestyle stuff? Gaming. It's a be the way to decompress and to settle down. Way to relax and go. You know, just my obsessive play of Stardew Valley. You're supposed to be able to, hit the pause button, go do your thing, come back. It's very simplistic. Nothing. There's no great save the world involved in. If I'm in the middle of a battle or something, if I put the game down, what's the appeal of why I play as a parent? And yeah, I thought I would try this out. You can see my fidgeting hands. Artistically fidgeting hands. This is distracting as a viewer. I could probably sign more with this view. I got a video. But yeah, a lot of words. Just started the coffee. Yeah, I do need my own studio, don't I? Eventually, I will get my own studio. If I had like enough subscribers, like, oh, this is how I'm going to make money. But as a creator, I call myself a creator. I'm just a priestess. The most interesting priestess. I'm like the autistic priestess. I'm not like the autistic ADD priestess. I'm like what you get. But we can take a deep breath, like we do a lot in these videos. Because this morning, I need to get it done in order to be calm. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Exhale. Hold in. And that is breathing. I don't know how many I did. I lost count. But yeah. I have to stay alive. I have to stay alive. Breathe enough to stay alive. That is the important part. Uh, uh, the thoughts will come, and then I'll talk, and it'll be hard to not talk. And but I'm waking up. This is I mean, like I don't take personally. I don't take meds for my ADD, and that's a whole lot of insurance and crap, and I have to find my diagnosis somewhere for the ADD to go get the meds to go get the. So far, it's been better with eating better for me. There's a difference. And for each person, it's different. I say, if you take meds, you take meds. What do I care about that? It helps you function with your life. Don't stop functioning because you think some YouTuber sits there and goes, "Oh my gosh, you take meds." No, take meds. Do it. You know, if you believe these meds are right for you, and you've talked to your physician, and yeah, I mean, because we all self-medicate anyways. I just like I got all right. I got like a ton of caffeine. Well, no, not a ton of caffeine. I've got coffee right here. Coffee. I use probiotic foods, green vegetables, prebiotic foods, antibiotic foods, garlic. Garlic's a great antibiotic. Some will say that, like, oh, it's an antiviral. It's this, that. I'm like, I know it to be antibiotic, but I don't know it to be those others. So I'd love to study. I'm going to study the properties of all these different types of plants, plant life, and see, what it really does. Because I would love to do alternative medicine. Because right now our healthcare system is not fully functioning for the whole, well, in the United States, anyways. The healthcare system is broken. But yeah, so how do people with like life-changing chronic diseases with all sorts of different diseases, where are they gonna go? I just need to make it better, something to function. Alternative medicine seems to be the way to go. And yeah, but the thing is, you can't just go, oh, I'm just gonna take this herb rather than go see, doctor. That, that in itself not very healthy. But if you know the properties and you have the correct diagnosis, like the difference between IBS or Crohn's, if you don't go to the doctor, find out which one you have, then what can happen is you can take the wrong type of way of handling it. I mean, Crohn's is an autoimmune. And IBS is an allergic reaction to the protein out of, like, say, red meat, or the IBS is an allergic reaction to anything wheat, whereas the intestines become inflamed. And Crohn's is it's your own body attacking to autoimmune. And so something like steroids or whatever the doctors, I'm not a doctor. I haven't gotten into this yet. So like say like steroids usually helps with autoimmune, but I mean, example, it's not the specific. So like a steroid would help somebody with Crohn's, but if somebody with IBS takes something like a steroid, it's not going to help. It's just going to make things worse. They're going to get yeah. And then if you, but then like for me, I take, like, an antihistamine. The thing is, the antihistamine that I take, the generic antihistamine that I take doesn't have, lactate lac lactose. Lactate is a type of brand of enzyme, but, I take a one that doesn't use a lactose as a the only word is calibrate, but that's not the word that I'm looking for. That calibrate means to, like, line something up the right, put it to 0, but it means to get it all precise and point, or to calibrate it, like a scope or something, to get it to line up in sights and all that. Um, anyways, if you have issues with dairy and you take one that has a lactose as a way to help the enzyme, to grow and all that other stuff, then it's not gonna help you either. And so you wanna take something like an anti-inflammatory to get down the inflammation in your bowels in order to poop, 'cause the gas is horrible, the constipation is horrible, and the, diarrhea doesn't help anything with anybody, it's totally gets rid of your ability to digest properly and take out the right amount of water, nutrients, and yeah, and you're like it wipes out for a few days until you can grow the correct, there are words missing without coffee. But the funny thing about, uh, medication-induced memory, if you have a certain scent, you study for a test next to a bouquet of lavender. So when you smell lavender again, you could bring up memories of the things you studied. It's a cute little memory thing. Same thing with caffeine or nicotine. If you are nicotine induced and you study for a test, likelihood if you're nicotine induced again, you can more easily bring up those memories of when you of what it was you were studying. It's like writing, uh, so caffeine induced memories. I probably remember more things that were caffeine induced. And it does help, the repetition for, like I did not understand the repetition for the life of me, why people want repetition, 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 is that one of the greatest assets to memory is to build, association. So if you're remembering a memory of something, that puts that something that you're remembering in a whole other slot, so it's in more than one memory slot. Or, like, core memory versus, if you're remembering about a core memory and da 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 while you were doing something. So the more often you're introduced to something, the more you become familiar with it, the more memory slots that experience holds. That item, that thing that you're trying to remember, the intangible memory, the more memory slots that takes up and overlaps. So if you become familiar with something, you can put it in your somewhere in your muscle memory, your other memories, or something. And you know, so to review it several times in college while you're on caffeine and when you're not, and then again when you're not on a caffeine, so you're able to bring it up even if you're not caffeinated. Because if you're a doctor or a nurse and you're in the middle of an emergency and you hadn't had your coffee yet and your patient depends on, you don't want it to take forever to come up with, oh yeah, we could, just hypothetically. I don't know. I haven't ever been a doctor, so That's just a hypothetical scenario as a writer I would come up with. That's how it goes in the book. But that way you can easily bring up. So going over it again and again and again in a different environment and different scenarios brings different associations. So if you bring up the association, like this goes with that, like this food, this is my favorite food. This food is also great for medicine. This food is, that's a different slot and a different place, and it's there's more. Um, and if you like, that's a great way to remember things. But to remember certain words, like catalyst and what's the other word? Catalyst. Yeah, it's a type of way that yeah, if you want to, this itty bitty minute substance that can cultivate and grow, if you want to grow it in a lactose or an egg white, uh, as your catalyst to carry, like if you want to grow something for your body to recognize as a little bit of a virus, like a shot in a vaccine. And then, yeah, they commonly, I guess, use egg whites unless you're allergic to eggs. It's interesting. It's just the way we're designed. It's funny because across the board, so you have to find out other ways that people remember stuff and the way you remember stuff. So the stuff that we like, that we move towards, is more readily available in our memories and in our ability to do things like muscle memory, like remember how to play a favorite song on your musical instrument that you're learning in school versus one that you hate. You move away, so your body still works, your mind still works, and everything, your soul, your spirit, everything's working to adverse, try to get away from something you don't like. So if you're moving towards the very thing that your soul, your spirit, your thoughts are trying to avoid, you're going to have to reintroduce it and reintroduce it and reintroduce it into an environment that you are either neutral or move towards. So your body has this part in its brain that processes all of your experience, all of this data, all the sensory overload, because you don't just have your five senses. You can your sense of balance, your sense of motion, your sense of pressure, your sense of not bariatrics.
Metric.
What is it? Metric?
Barometric.
Barometric. Yeah, a measurement of Yeah. Um. Yeah, barometrics. Pressure. Amount of pressure. So you have all these sensories that your body, your brain, one little thing that's sitting in a complete and utter desensory that doesn't, it's like in its little sensory capsule. It doesn't have light, sound, or any of the other sensories in it. It's just sitting there sloshing around in your is there brain fluid? Yeah. Slosh.
Cerebral fluid.
So that wasn't delusional when I felt my brain slosh against my skull. Okay. um and everything went white and there was a piercing noise, and yeah, it was an interesting experience. I don't recommend it. And shaken baby syndrome is a horrible thing. Don't shake your baby. If you're mad, walk away. It's better to have them cry and become psychopaths later in life than to be shaken and die right away. It's just, yeah, if you're, yeah, let your baby cry, walk away. Um, but yeah, so it's sitting in that, your brain is sitting in this little capsule This is so fascinating to me. So there, I've watched all these lectures and all this stuff and, read all this research. It's just absolutely fascinating that it has no idea what is going on. So you have to perceive everything. And so when your brain tells you about something, it tells you the way you perceived it. So if it has to relay information, has to relay it in a way that it was perceived. So, and as it perceives, it filters. It naturally filters between towards, away, or neutral emotionally. All of this stuff comes from an emotional filter. Your emotions regulate what you do, don't do, how you think, what you think, when you think, where you think. So if you are emotionally unstable, it affects your ability to function. So we, like in the US, founding fathers of be you're irrational, you should be less emotional. Is the exact opposite of how to get a human to operate. When we validate our feelings and we validate children's feelings that are developing into grown humans, and as humans that are grown, understand and validate our feelings, we can operate from that point, that vantage point, where we can understand more about what's happening to us and it's less traumatic because a lot of trauma is like post trauma is us trying to understand what happened and how we can prevent that from happening again. So if something happened and you saw a red shirt or something, every time you see the color red, your body is reacting to that was a pivot point between safe and danger or something. It could be a trigger. That's just an example. There's a variety beyond immeasurably amount of factors, variables. It's incalculable. So, and everybody handles trauma differently. But again and again and again and again, a trauma response is to understand what happened and how to prevent trauma from happening again. So, emotional regulation, if we traumatize our emotions, especially as autistic people who are very emotionally sensitive, and ADD people who are in the moment, who are, don't always, we don't always see the big picture because we are in the single task, linear to this little moment. And so when you hurt our feelings in this little moment, it builds that block of perceived memory and experience in which we replay it over and over and over again. So learning to have an experience. If you have certain factors when you're raising a child and you have this knowledge and you can bring it to the forefront and you're aware of the ability to have decisions, I found that a lot of my trauma that I didn't want to traumatize my kids with is I picked neutral. Because if I forced I can make this a happy experience to do dishes, and when I was traumatized doing dishes, and dishes need to be done in order for the survival of in our environment, we chose to do dishes in order to, it's very interesting. Instead of living off plates and paper plates and, throwaway utensils, we chose that we should use dishes and wash dishes, which is a very hard, traumatizing experience for me. I didn't want to traumatize my children, and it's very, very hard. So picking a neutral, creating a neutral experience where it's more factual. It's not so much that it's not emotional at all, but more factual. Helps them create their own emotional response to whether or not it should be a good experience or a bad experience. So when I'm upset and I don't want to traumatize my children, I try to, on the outside, present a neutral experience. I go to the facts because that is a emotionally safe space. It's not that I'm getting rid of the emotions, it's that I'm providing those emotions to be safe and that everything's okay. Not because that nothing bad will happen, but because I've been through all the bad shit and I know what I want to do with that bad shit. Those are some tools, some some very valuable tools going through trauma and having a safe space to talk about trauma and going through that. That's like therapy right now. I wasn't expecting it to go that turn. But yeah, so apparently I needed to get it out. If you don't get it out in a very constructive or a very healthy manner, it tends to be deconstructive in your life. It comes up in ways that it shouldn't be. Apparently, if I put it into my subconscious, here, let you handle this while I'm sleeping, I stress out to the point that yeah, stress. My sleep is very stressed out. Like I'll be unconscious through all that stress and pain and things that I don't want to experience. But apparently, that's not a healthy thing to do to my subconscious. Only handle the bad stuff. It doesn't come out right. So handling in a healthy manner negative, positive, and neutral experiences through a human to remember things and to go through it. You can remember a lot faster, more efficiently, or to a fuller capacity if you put things in through the neutral filter, the neutral emotional filter. Like this is okay to say, watch and happen, and withhold judgment. Um, versus like moving towards or moving away. So like a positive or a negative or a neutral. Um, yeah. So this is just me like talking. And it's, yeah. So while you're busy driving, doing whatever you're doing, and listening to me just like get this stuff off my chest. And I appreciate all the people who stop in to watch my videos. And I apologize if this was triggering or not something you expected. And not something you're equipped to handle. Uh, but I mean, yeah, it happens in life. And okay, so I've noticed if people only handle positive things because they're not equipped to handle negative experience, what's perceived for them as negative experiences. I've noticed with others and myself that if you like you tend to hoard and cultivate negativity in a little spot that you think is in the back, and it comes up when it overgrows its container. So your capacity to hold negative stuff, it tends to overflow into your life in inappropriate ways. So if you can minimize it negative by allowing to understand a negative experience or a negative occurrence or something that is going through. And you can allow, this is not something that I enjoy. This is not something I like. And this is why I don't like it or don't enjoy it. This is what it is. This is where it came from. This is what I can do with it. You can become better equipped to handle your everyday life. Because I watch these people that get this kind of positivity that ends up being toxic. Like, you have to smile. You have to be a good person. You have to do these things. And they have these beautiful intentions. But they say it at the expense of their good health and the good health of the people around them. Oh my god. I'm like, yeah, no, what do we do with the bad stuff? And so I think Like, I'm beginning to think that, my kid that's in school, only the way that they're doing so well in school, because we have school conferences, is that, they save the negative for me. They feel pushed on. Feel like they're given no choice, but they have to be like this and they have to be like that. And they come home and they yell at their sibling, or they come home and they take it out on me. And I'm like, there's got to be a healthier way of dealing with um your school life. Because I mean, whether or not you're being emotionally attacked and they don't know it, they don't understand that that's your emotional attack or something. I mean, like, I got to, and we've been working on some stuff. There's been a lot more. It's not, I have to be positive, or I have to be good, or I'm stuck being just good or nothing else. I can't do anything else, or there's doom, doom, doom. It's more like I'm actually kind of satisfied and happy. Like, this is kind of nice. This is that nice, happy on a stream feeling, like you're just lazily on a stream or lazily happy or you're comfortably happy or satisfied and happy. There's lots of negativity I have to go through. There's like 4 decades of negativity that I have to go through that I didn't well manage. And it shows up in the body. We're learning there's research that it shows up in the body, that the body takes it on and gives it physical manifestations. So if I want good health, I've got to sort through that mess continuously for the rest of my life, as well as allow the happy experience. Because the happy experience after you've been through trauma is the scariest. Like this guy over here. Does he really love me? Is he really faithful to me? Is really, am I really the one that he wants? Am I really is he happy with life with me? Or is he just gonna screw me over because he thinks I'm not what he expects, or conditionally one day, and I just put all that investment, where, I'm still gonna love him, unconditionally, I'm gonna love him, but I'm like, am I going to give him a place for him to hurt me? No, but is he going to hurt me? Like, that next I'm so happy, it's so great. When's the bad stuff going to occur? When's the other shoe going to drop? But I'm like, for him, I'm sure he's gonna say, "No, I love you," and no, in his head, I'm sure I'm sure I don't know, um, beyond a doubt, because that's his head, not mine, uh, that he's thinking something reflectively on the other side is that she's nice now, what's she gonna be like later? Or she's so good now, or she's so nice now, and she cares and loves me now. Is she gonna be there, or am I just gonna be something conditionally to her? Uh, and that's to me, I'm like, no, I'd be totally in love, and I'd love him for the rest of his life. I don't care what he says. He's got me for the rest of his life, whether he likes it or not. But in my head, but he doesn't know that. He's got his own head. Which makes me curious. What do you think is inside his head? What do you think's inside his heart? He's leaning forward, so I can't see his expression. He's trying to decipher. He's sticking his tongue out at me. But yeah, he's got so many good qualities, and we're working on because uh my childhood, I've had such trauma, and into the earlier, because I don't have tools to diminish trauma. Um, that's the fun part, is you pick up these toxic traits you don't know that you have that are toxic. Because you're just reacting. You're just surviving and not thriving. The goal is to thrive. But yeah, all this toxicity that I picked up and just kind of sludged around with life. And that's the thing is, I wish my kids knew these healing points because I was always so. It sound if I look at it, I feel like a majority of the time I was gaslit and angry and upset and grumpy and that healing point where you're just angry with everything and grieving of having, you should have had a good life and, life's not supposed to be that crappy. And I was healing and I want to go back in time and give all these all my kids, a better all the people that were in my circle a better opportunity to have better experiences. Um and I can't. I can't go back in time, so I can only go forward. Some from this point on, I wish, the kids here more often to have less toxicity and knowing that, micro aggressions that lay on an autistic person over and over and over again, and the fact that I didn't know I was exposing myself to these things. It's like a type of trauma. And now that I understand those things and know what to do or know what I'd like to do about some of them, it really changes. Like my life is getting better and I'm doing better now. And I have to progress and go on from this point into better, better, and better and better, more healthier, and to keep growing healthier and healthier, and allowing others a space to grow healthy. I just feel like it's unfair to my kids. I mean, they could have had it better. Me knowing what I know now, they could have had it better, and it just pisses me off in a way of mourning a certain time or mourning a expectation of having a life you could thrive and not just survive. And that my kids could have had a better life. And it's just that's hard. That's a hard pill to swallow. It's what it is now. And then you just have to move on from here. And knowing what it is, take opportunities that come. Just, yeah. So, I don't know if this is psycho or is crazy or it is reflecting on aspects of my life that was crazy or crazy things that happened to me and understanding more emotional depth to it. Today is definitely therapy vlog day. Definitely. And my hope is that vlogging it is spewed all over YouTube. So nobody, I hardly get more than two wonderful views. I got 2 viewers yesterday. Other than 2 viewers, is that you could take that experience and self-reflect with it, or to understand somebody else that might be going through trauma. A lot of times I look at some people, some toxic people, and realize it's just trauma response. I'm like, they're going through a trauma response. That's all that is. Uh, yeah. And I should get going. I should end this video. And hopefully tomorrow is way more religious and way less therapeutically traumatizing. So yeah. But I love you guys. Love, 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 love you all. And I hope you guys are doing well. And until the next we see, till the next time.